Y'all know what time it is. It is time for a little blunt force logic. As we all saw yesterday with Derek Chauvin, convicted, 3 counts, murder, done. Justice is served. That is the people that are saying that's not justice. That is the definition of justice. What people want to happen, what it seems as though was proven to have been part of the trial, it happened. You could have different thoughts. You can think that he shouldn't have gotten all 3. You could think 2 of the 3, whatever. Justice, it's done, and we're moving on. So everybody that's joining, share this message. We're going to talk a little bit about the shooting in Columbus, Ohio, and of course, ambulance chaser Benjamin Crump on the scene already. So this is Blunt Force Logic. If you haven't watched this before, this is a 10-minute, 15-minute clip where I talk about the logic behind what's going on. So hopefully at one point it can get through to somebody, it can get through to one of the viewers, it can get through to one of the people that you share this video out to, and they might go, oh my God, I've been thinking wrong about this whole time. What's going on, everybody? In the comments, please, again, put some comments. Tell me where you're from. Throw it in the box. Get that algorithm bumping. If you can do me a favor, as you see Anthony Michael Russo down there, that is where you'll find this on Facebook once this becomes a more permanent show, hopefully with OpsLens. Again, this is a little bit more than the typical Be the Change content. I get a little bit rougher. I don't exactly watch my mouth. Probably not family friendly, because at one point you need a little blunt force logic to actually get people to see what's going on in this world. So let's talk about Columbus. I saw somebody being from Cleveland. Mecca, what's going on? How's it going? I don't know how to pronounce your name. Sorry. We're talking about the shooting that happened, police-involved shooting with Ma'Khia Bryant, which last night already they were sharing, they were chanting her name, say her name, Ma'Khia Bryant, without any semblance of information on what actually happened. Suni, Casey, and I were legitimately some of the first people to actually put this. We were before Tatum. We were an hour before Tatum. We were a few hours behind any of the side news stations, and we were a day before, or over 12 hours before the Fox News and CNN, which it's now on the radio. It's now on the television as you see it. So Ma'Khia Bryant, the way that it was reported, and people, and I've had a lot of flack because I put up the actual body cam footage on my Instagram. I don't usually get a lot of viewing on the Be the Change Instagram page. We had a few thousand views, and people were saying, oh, it's good to actually see the footage. This needs to be seen. Why does it need to be seen? This is not me showing somebody's life being taken. This is not me being graphic. That ship sailed a long time ago. Look at television. Look at what's put out there. Look at the cell phone videos. This was something drastically needed to be shown to the American public so that we didn't continue the riots. If last night wanted to be celebratory and hopefully not riots, which it was in a decent amount of places, it was peaceful, especially in Minnesota, oddly enough, then let it be. But then throwing this other shooting and misinformation by local news in Columbus, Ohio, the information that came out on this shooting was that a girl, if you haven't seen it yet, you can look it up on my Instagram, you can look it up on Suni's page, etc., that Ma'Khia Bryant was unarmed, which Ben Crump is already on the scene. How he has a license to practice law as he chases after every case of a shooting involved with a police officer and a black person, instead of maybe let's look at the mass amount of shootings on any weekend and maybe look for the person that killed the 7-year-old girl at the McDonald's. No, he wants the ones that are prime time in the media because he is an ambulance chaser and a waste of human being as a lawyer. So what has been said by the media was that this girl called the police because there was a disturbance in front of her house, and that she was holding a knife to protect herself, and the cop got out of his car and shot her immediately, killed her on sight. There's only one thing that is actually true. Only one thing that is actually true out of that is that he shot very quickly. He got out of his car and he stopped the threat of violence. Why? If you actually watch the clips, which once people watch it, if they're still not able to see that this was a justified shooting, then they don't understand the way real life is. And I can't explain to you that a knife actually kills people. Somebody used the response to me, you can't, it's you're bringing a knife to a gun, or you're bringing a gun to a knife fight. That's unfair. A knife still kills people. Get out of the mindset of movies and all the shit you see on TV. A knife can kill very quickly. And actually, that's the only thing that can go through bulletproof armor. I mean, bullets can, but it's harder. Knives right through. Just just to educate those that don't understand. So if you watch the clip, she was, as the police officer arrived, once the police arrived, if you call them, if you in fact are the person that called the police officer, shouldn't you back up at that point? Because then that's time for the police to do their job and stop the fight or stop whatever's going on. So the police officer gets out of the vehicle, sees this woman barge straight at this other girl, jumps on top of her, and also let's also say that they keep saying 16-year-old, 15-year-old kid. The girl was over 200 pounds. There's no way a police officer is going to know that this is a child. This is a big girl. Like, this looks like an adult, and she's coming in hot. So she comes in with a house knife, with a knife, trying to stab somebody, knocks this girl over with the knife, doesn't know if that woman got stabbed yet or not. She then goes to a girl that's pinned up against a vehicle, that she pins up against the vehicle. You see the knife and all the stills. She's wielding it, and it is, I mean, it's a big kitchen knife, and she's swinging it, trying to cut the girl and trying to stab the girl. This could kill the individual. The cop does not know, and let me say this slowly, the cop does not know who called the police. So maybe it's the person that doesn't have the knife that's about to get attacked. So this girl in front of a police officer is trying to stab people. And the police officer, in a matter of 14 seconds from when he left the vehicle, saw the scene happening, used his firearm in a manner to shoot center mass, which can kill somebody, because they just explained on the radio, which I'm glad, and I'm listening on the radio, it's CNN and it's Fox. They explained during the press conference, when somebody asked, why can't you shoot for the leg? It explained the situation. First off, you don't shoot the leg because you can miss. And on top of missing, you can hit innocent bystanders. And there were several there. So this girl could have continued to stab whoever she wanted. Mind you, while the stabbing was going on, the one girl that already might have gotten stabbed by the, I think, quote unquote, father or male figure there, drop kicked the girl that was already on the ground. Nobody's got an issue with that. Nobody's got no problem. It's totally fine. We're worried about the cop minimizing the threat by at the time, who was the aggressor trying to kill people. It happened all in 14 seconds from when he left the cop car. Happened incredibly fast work. And that's why in 14 seconds, what happens in 20 seconds if a girl got stabbed? I had people tell me, why not use a taser? And then when I explained the taser, like, are you an expert on tasers? Well, two things. Logic. First, you talk to police officers. They could tell you that a taser only minimizes threat, but real threats or real logic is watching what happened in Nashville, or watching what happened to people getting arrested all the time, and it's not enough. And they say, why didn't they use taser first? Well, they did sometimes, and then they had to use a firearm. Why a taser doesn't work? So the question becomes, if that was your family member pinned up against the vehicle with a woman with a knife, do you care if they don't use lethal force, because that girl can kill your person, your sister, your aunt, your family member? And a taser, correct, does not always work, and it's not instant. A taser is not an instant effect. A taser isn't going to instantly minimize the situation when there is a person that could get killed. That is the actual job of a police officer. So a lot of people that saw the clip understood, which is great. And then there is those few that still didn't understand why the cop shot. And to those, I don't know the logic that will allow you to understand that in that instance, there was no other choice, and that is good police work to save the person getting stabbed. Whether that was the person that called or not, I think we expect that police officers are superhuman. They know exactly their targets when they get there. Y'all have been watching too many fucking RoboCops or whatever old movies and new movies, and they can get to the situation, Terminator, and analyze like, oh, that person called me. This person's in distress. This person's the target. This person's who I need to get. 14 seconds. Be a human being. Count to 14 and think that if you can make all these things happen in 14 seconds. And yes, somebody said, but a gun is so much more dangerous than a knife. In fact, I don't see that evidence anywhere. I've looked it up. Knife can do more damage and cause more bleeding and cause more death than sometimes gunshot wounds. You don't actually know which is more deadly. Beth, you can see this video either on the Instagram. I posted at @BeTheChange_USA. I know Suni's got it up. I have it on the Be The Change Facebook page. It should be up there. My intention was not to unfortunately bring apart this poor girl's death. That's not it in any way, shape, or form. It's still unfortunate that she died, but we have to stop making major national news out of these stories that are made, and their intention is to incite more violence. Last night, the reason I posted this, there was 11 different pings going on around Columbus, Ohio, within about 100 to 200 miles, because we have a way of seeing where these quote unquote violent protests are happening. That was more than anywhere else in the country. So clearly word was spreading based off of, you and me both, based off of the media, the local media, which usually I like to rely on local news, the local media spreading a false narrative because of the people on site with their post videos were the first one to get to the news, saying, man, she wasn't doing, she was a kid, she wasn't doing nothing. Like, why would they shoot her like that? Like, she just was trying to protect herself, protect her. It was a blatant and complete lie. Complete lie. And that was what was shared because the news wanted to be the first one out there. And it's bullshit. And it's dangerous. And one of my old friends said, I can no longer follow your platform, and I'm okay with it. That's life. But because I was showing this girl getting shot by the police, and she said, I understand, but I only share one side of the story. There is the other side, which is this girl was fighting somebody in her house and there was a fight and she went to protect herself. But the side that causes destruction, damage, violence to the country as a whole is the side that doesn't show this. So that's why I show this. It's logical to look at a situation and go, if I'm not the one that helps share this message out there, what am I doing? What I'm doing is I'm combating the narrative. I'm combating the fact that logically you're looking at a woman that is 16 or 15 years old who now has parents crying till the end of time. Might I add, her mom that was there at that time isn't even taking care of her anymore. She's put her through foster care. The dad, don't know. This isn't and then now they're also showing her as an honor student. She was an honor student years ago. This is not, we're showing all of these photos of the last 3 deaths by police officers of these young adults when they were much younger, to play on the heartstrings of the American public. If you don't understand what they are doing, then you are part of the problem. I hate that phrase. But if you don't understand that this is all bullshit, they're getting you excited over, and this is not an unarmed, so she doesn't even account in this statistic, but 8 people, 12 people a year that are unfortunate, but they focus on it like they're being hunted. I shared another video that was, I put it on my timeline or whatever it's called, story. I shared another video that they interviewed people, and this is why I share this. This is why it's important. They were interviewing people yesterday before the verdict, or a couple days ago. What happens if? And everybody was saying, burn the city down, burn it down, burn it down. Everybody that they interviewed. I know that's not the whole, and I know that's not everyone. But the question was asked in there, and this is what's important. And this is why we have to continue to share this kind of information. And this is why it's not me trying to get followers or me like using my platform to show that police are all good. It's because the narrative is so far from reality that somebody has to say it and somebody has to continue to share it. So they interviewed specifically one girl. They asked, and I've asked this before, and we asked it to the people we had on our show the other day, how many black people do you think are killed by police per year? How many unarmed black people do you think are killed by police per year? And she goes, I don't know, hundreds, probably hundreds just in Minneapolis alone, hundreds. When in fact, the number is under 20 on average the last several years nationally. So now you understand why this thought process that police are bad, and why you're understanding that people hate the police and they think they're all terrible. Does policing need reform? Yeah, every life needs reform. It's 2021. We're going to grow. We're going to have progress. We're going to change. Some of the reform that they're doing, I don't think is good. It puts police in a really bad situation, which is going to cause them to act erratically. Why? Because they're humans, and we seem to forget that on a daily basis. But when we continue to put the other narrative out there. That's what people are going to believe. And that's why people are in fear for the police, not because of white supremacists, not because of me being a white guy trying to talk about black crime. We ignore the biggest problem. And if you look at the logic behind black on black crime being a racist theory, there is no semblance to fact or reason to that. When black on black crime is an issue, and it is, just like white on white crime is, but statistically based on per capita, black on black crime is a much bigger issue based on the percentage of population. It's also what we talk about in terms of how to save the black community. That's what media talks about. That's what the government talks about. That's what liberals talk about. And that's even, I know this is going to be a shocker, what conservatives talk about as well. How do we help the black community? By helping them help themselves, which is the philosophy on being American. So if we ignore the biggest cause of death, which is homicide to black males in this country, biggest cause of death to young black males is homicides. If we ignore this, how can we even ideally fix policing? The much smaller problem on the scale, much, much smaller, less than 20. How do we fix that problem without saying, I make you a bet when a cop goes to a bad neighborhood or a black neighborhood or a low income neighborhood, if crime is bad in that area, that means the police officer has to be on the defensive. That's what I like to call blunt force logic. So if we don't look at the root cause of why these neighborhoods are bad, which right now the media is ignoring, all the social justice warriors and civil rights movement, this new version of civil rights, which does nothing to actually unify or bring people up together or help the black community in any way, shape, or form, because it's pointing out something that's really a speck on the major issue. So if a police officer arrives in a bad neighborhood where there is a typical amount of a lot of illegal guns, is he not going to be jumpier than he would be in a nicer neighborhood? Is there a chance that more, unfortunately, young black males or females can be killed like that because it's a tougher situation? And now you've got a bunch of people around the police officer that think the police officer is already going to kill them. So they're afraid for their lives. So they're acting that way. They're acting in fear. They're yelling. They're making bad decisions. The mainstream media is killing black people. I'm going to say it. They are killing black people, not only in their own community, by ignoring what's going on and ignoring it because then policymakers don't have to do anything. They are making these instances where like the rights of the world fight back against police because he is in fear for his life because he probably thinks that cops kill hundreds of people that look like him a year that are unarmed. The mainstream media killed that 20-year-old. The media that perpetrates a lie. Plain and simple. There'll be more. I'll probably talk again tomorrow. Tonight, we're going to do what made you smile today. I encourage you guys to share this video. I know a lot of you guys have liked it. I know a decent amount of you guys are watching. Please share this out there. Share the videos that Suni and I did in the last 24 hours. And hopefully, if it can save one person's business or one person's life in Columbus, Ohio, this is not us chasing the first part of the story, chasing the clout. We took the damn footage off of the body cam that clearly shows that everything put out there by the media was false in order to make a point and prove a point. Well, with that said, guys, that was a little blunt force logic. Make sure you follow Anthony Michael Russo because, again, these won't always be on Be The Change page because, as you can see, not the typical Be The Change message. But if you want to be the change, try to think logically. Try to be a decent human being and not listen to anything. You know what? Don't not listen. Question anything you hear on mainstream media. Bye, everybody.